If you're new to my channel, my name is Chloe and I've just entered my final year of university. I wanted to share how I balance my small business as a full-time student, so I'll be sharing how I go through my school week, such as going to my lectures and my labs, as well as how I fit my small business tasks into my busy schedule. I'll also give some advice on how I keep up with schoolwork, like how I study and the things I do to stay productive. Okay, so this is one of the new sticker sheets that I drew this week when I had any free time. I drew this a long time ago, but I really didn't like how it came out, and then I kind of just gave up on it. But I really like the way this new one came out. The colors are nice and the little drawings are really cute, so I'm content with this one and I'll keep this one. I just need to print it out and cut it. And I also need to take product photos of it as well, so we'll see when I can do that. The colors look so good. Originally the background was super bright and really saturated, so I brought the saturation of the background down so that the actual items stand out, and now it looks so much better. I'd like to hop in and talk about today's sponsor, which is Munbyn. I'm excited to show you how I use these versatile round thermal labels for my small business and for things around my apartment. Here, I'm putting together the label holder and the printer just sits on top. You can pull on the two notches on the side of the printer to open it up. Then you can feed your labels in and adjust the width of the printer by moving the guides on the inside of the printer. When you close the printer, it will automatically calibrate the labels for you. After opening the Munbyn app, you can connect the printer via Bluetooth. You will know when it's connected because the light on the printer will turn green. This time I'm using their circular purple labels, so I'm going to search for the labels I'll be using after clicking on more. Then I can upload any images to be printed. After adjusting the size of the image, I can just press print. Since I own a small business, I really like printing thank you stickers. This device allows me to customize the design of my packaging, which is super important to me and my brand. Here, I'm using them as sealing stickers for my envelopes. The Munbyn app also offers over 1,000 free editable templates, so scrolling down I can see all the different templates I can choose from. If I don't feel like designing anything, I could easily select one of these templates and print from there. Another use I have for them is printing QR codes. Business cards are actually quite expensive, which is why this is a great alternative. I can just print my QR code and stick it onto my packaging, so when customers receive their items, they can quickly scan the code to get access to my links. If you're not a small business, there are other ways the printer can be used. I use it for some organization purposes, such as labeling my supply bins. You can also find creative ways to personalize your space. I find it quite cute to put these labels on my plant pots. I can write the name as well as the care instructions for each of my plants. Thank you, Munbyn, for sponsoring this video. So I know we're only like a few weeks into school, but one of the ways I study is I really like flashcards. Yeah, I use an app called Anki. At the end of each week, after all my lectures, I'll make flashcards for all of my classes. And then the week after, I'll practice those flashcards. And then throughout the semester, that's what I'll do. So usually that's how I keep on track of like my courses. That way at the end, like when there's exams, I'm not as pressured to study things that I learned at the beginning of the semester because I've already been practicing all of the content ever since we learned it. I guess the only thing that's kind of intimidating is since there's like so much content, I usually have a lot of cards by the end of the week. And then by the end of the semester, I'll probably have like 700 to 1,000 cards in total. But you don't have to practice on like every day. The app will just recommend like flashcards that you're having difficulty with, and then they'll repeat those cards more often. So I know that using AI is controversial when it comes to using it in university, and I'm not condoning the use of it for for writing projects, but I use ChatGPT when I study, and the way I use it is when I'm going through my flashcards and making notes from my lectures. There's always things I don't understand, and the way I'll do it is I'll ask ChatGPT for an answer for these types of questions, and then at the end I'll type in compile a list of multiple choice questions that are based on the content above, and then it'll generate types of questions based on the information that I asked before. I find it's a good tool to use to break down difficult concepts that I struggle with learning while I'm in the classroom. There's no answers with these. I'll ask what the answers are at the end, so I'll give my answer to the questions and then I'll ask it what the answers are. ChatGPT isn't perfect, so the answers aren't perfect, but it helps me anyways. I'm very much a creature of habit. I like when I can see what I need to do and have everything listed out because it makes me feel less overwhelmed. So the way I manage my time is I actually use an agenda. Since I'm in school, a lot of the deadlines are provided at the beginning of the semester, so at the start of each month, I will write down deadlines for projects or test dates. At the beginning of each week, I'll write down the smaller tasks that I need to accomplish. Flashcards for me are a weekly thing, so I'll write that down. Since I don't have classes on Friday this semester, I usually block down time for assignments and reports that I need to write on those days, as well as any miscellaneous tasks. When I first started university, I used Google Calendar, and I would literally block out times of the day to do specific tasks, to the minute. And this was so unhealthy because for some reason I thought I needed to spend exactly 60 minutes on assignment, not 1 minute more or 1 minute less. I was so devoted to the schedule that I would always look at it, and just thinking about it would make me stress out. So by second year, I had had enough and I said goodbye to the calendar. Not that the agenda is a big new discovery, but ever since I started using my agenda, I don't allot a specific amount of time to do something. I just do it for as long as I need to do, and this way has been so much better for me now that I'm not tied to a super strict schedule. A huge piece of advice I've learned is that you have to be able to set boundaries. It's very common to set boundaries with partners and with people in your life, but it's also super important to set boundaries with yourself, and it's part of self-care. For example, in my first 2 years of university, it would be common for me to work into the night, and I actually don't do that anymore. Like you've seen in earlier clips, I play video games and relax at night. I don't really do any work past 6 p.m. I consciously choose to start work earlier in the morning so I don't have to stress out about the work I need to do at night. What motivates me is the thought of having time to relax and be able to choose what I want to do, which comes after the work. If I'm more productive during the day, then I can feel more accomplished at night, and then the next day I can repeat that. I set specific hours for school and business and don't multitask between the two because I know I can confuse what I'm doing. It's also important to know when to say no and to know your limits. When school gets overwhelming, I don't do extra business things or projects. This way, I'm able to balance my business and schoolwork to ensure I'm making progress without needing to compromise on my well-being. When it comes to prioritizing, I've always prioritized school first, as you should. My education is a long-term investment, so assignments and studying always comes first on my list. After I've planned school things, I find ways to fit business activities around those. Sometimes I have breaks on campus between class, and if I don't have any school-related things, then I'll find time to work on shop listings or designing new products. I also have to remember that I need to adjust and set realistic business goals. During exam season, it isn't always possible to create content, and that's okay. Growing my business is important, but maintaining it is equally as important. Now I want to talk about how I stay creative during school. I find that drawing or doodling is a great way to refresh my mental state. Schoolwork allows me to think in a more technical and logical way, while my business allows me to be creative. Pinterest is probably my #1 inspiration source. I can create digital mood boards and fill them with art and drawings from other artists. I have separate boards for color palettes, pose references, drawings I like, and even just household items that I like. I also like my workspace to be filled with my personal things like artwork and plants. I don't have many clips of me working on campus because I actually prefer to do work at home. I like the aspect of doing work with friends on campus, and I find that that can be super productive, but when it comes to individual work, I do my best work in my own space at home. I I also think of being creative as a reward. For example, after I finish this assignment, I can finally finish that drawing that I've been working on. It's something I can look forward to, and it turns creativity into a positive motivator. Another thing I do is go to the gym. Going to the gym reduces so much stress for me. It's also a great way to keep a consistent routine, and it's great for self-discipline. So it's not just a great physical outlet, but also a mental outlet for me. I also feel more sleepy at night on the days that I go to the gym, which means I get better rest for the next day. So those are the tips that I use to balance my studies, stay productive, and keep my creativity flowing while running my small business. With a little planning and flexibility, it's definitely possible to handle both. The key is to stay organized and give yourself time to rest when you need it.